I drove up to Jacksonville in the early morning in hopes of seeing the Ringling Brothers Circus Train loading, or at least departing for Tampa and its last ever show in Florida. I heard the switching operations at West Jax on the radio, so I swung in there, and that's where he was. The two big GE engines were pulling the first cut of flat cars out of the yard and across Edgewood Avenue. They would have to enter the main line, so the dispatcher had cleared the West Jax signal. It was displaying red over yellow over red, a medium approach. Medium speed through the turnout switch, then proceed, ready to stop at the next signal. When they arrived at Jacksonville a week ago, the train was unloaded near the arena and then spotted here at West Jacksonville Yard. In order to fit in this short old seaboard yard, it was cut into 3 parts. And the reassembling of those parts is what we're watching this morning, a maneuver train crews call doubling. We're on the Seaboard Airline Railroad's main line at milepost SP 638. This is where the old SAL turned west out of the Jax passenger terminal and used its P line to get the 18 miles to Baldwin, where it turned south on its main line to Tampa and Miami, the line we now call the S line. In a move that's maddening to motorists stopped at crossings like this, the train now reverses and shoves it all back into the yard. What the drivers don't understand is that the crew has lined a switch back there, and the train is going into another track and on to the second part of these flat cars, doubling the size of the train. This railroad Rubik's Cube continues next as the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey passenger coaches are pulled out of their track and beyond yard switch number 2. A sad moment comes over me as I realize this could be the last time I see this train, these cars in service. Feld Entertainment announced in mid-January that it would be closing the circus, both red and blue shows, in May 2017. It was strictly a financial decision. The circus had been losing money for several years, owing to changing audience tastes and the plethora of other live entertainment available in cities year-round. It's a sad thought that in the future, lots of American kids might never see in person high-wire walkers, trapeze artists, lions, tigers, or elephants, or 5 clowns stuffing themselves into a toy-sized car. Sad also for rail fans that these cars, rescued from railroads all over the U.S., will no longer travel the rails of America. Viewed from beside the tracks on a cold January North Florida morning, this really is the greatest show on earth. While there are several CSX crew members on the ground, none are needed to line these yard switches, as they are all powered by electric motors activated by radio command from the locomotive cab. Here's what it sounds like.
CSX, West Jax Yard. Switch number 2 is normal. CSX, West Jax Yard, out.
The traditional switch target has been replaced by an indicator light that goes green when normal, yellow when reversed, and red when the train is on the circuit rolling over it. In that same maddening to motorists move, the whole thing now reverses, going backward over Edgewood Avenue again and down onto the flat car section of the circus train. I'm sure those drivers are not enjoying this the way I am. When I see people standing in the car vestibules, it hits me that this train has been completely loaded during this whole switching operation. And that's the way these circus folks live, self-contained on the train, wherever it is. It's a life like no other. When the three sections are finally made into one and the train is ready to leave, everything stops. The crew gets off and takes a taxi van away. It turned out that track work was blocking the line at White House, a siding west of town, and the circus train was waiting for permission through that track work zone, and it might be 2 hours before that permission came. After waiting for a while, things began to liven up again. CSX West Jacksonville Yard is also home to the company's office car train. Suddenly, here it came, coming up the yard lead. It looked to be washed and ready for the road. Pulled today by CSX F40PH-2 numbers 9998 and 9999. These EMD cab units are both ex-Amtrak engines. Like the Ringling Brothers train, the CSX office car train is a collection of historic passenger rolling stock, cars named for the states in which CSX operates. On the rear, the CSX Theater Car Georgia. The roll-down shutter protects a plate glass window through which 2 rows of seated passengers can watch the track pass beneath the train. It's very impressive. At least I've been told so. Hopefully CSX will one day invite me to ride along in this car, though I don't know why they would. The OCS train pulled out and crossed the main line onto the industrial lead, a side track that serves a number of industries along the line. Then I spotted something I've never seen before. I've spent many Saturday afternoons at this place, watching trains come and go, and never have I seen this. The southbound signal on the industrial lead lighted up, and that bottom aspect, which I always assumed was a lunar white restricting indication, was actually an illuminated S, which indicates stop and open switch. Now, I don't know if it governs the switch to the crossover or the derail right beneath the mast, but it's a very cool catch for me. And back on the West Jack's yard lead was another signal bonus I've never seen before. A red over yellow, a medium advance approach. Medium speed through the turnout, then prepared to stop at the second signal ahead. I've seen it in the rule book, but never in the field. Finally, at 17:15, 8 hours after I arrived here, P900-23, engine 3334 South, the circus train is departing West Jacksonville for Tampa and its final Florida show. My plan was to chase it south on the S-line, but more track work at Stark held him until after dark, and there is almost no light on the S-line at night. So, on what could be my last ever time seeing the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus Train at milepost SP 638, this is Danny Harmon, out.